After my CEO wife went bankrupt, everyone thought I'd take the money and run. I'm handsome but money-obsessed, spending her fortune on a playboy lifestyle every day. However, I actually want to stay and help her make a comeback. If I can just get a tiny piece of her future success, I'll be set for life. But who would have thought her bankruptcy was a total act? When I transmigrated into this novel, it was already the grand finale. The beautiful CEO was the villain who had been defeated by the female lead. I still remember the last passage about her. All Sarah had left was her husband lying in the bedroom and his luxury watches and clothes. But Sarah knew this man, who only cared about money and ignored her, would soon leave with his belongings. She would end up with nothing. I rubbed my temples, thinking of my bankrupt CEO wife, and let out a long sigh. Sarah has treated me quite well since we married. I'd feel guilty taking the money and running while she's at rock bottom. At the very least, I should wait until she has an income or a career again. After clearing my head, I got up and started cleaning the messy house. It took me 3 full hours to stuff everything into a corner of my room. Watches were piled up everywhere, over 100 of them, plus more than 80 suits. Right now, I really wish I could trade the clothes for watches. Watches are much easier to sell. I woke up at 2 p.m. and feeling my stomach growl, I checked the wallet on the coffee table. I found some cash, but I didn't even bother entering the kitchen. We just moved in 2 days ago, and neither of us can cook. There's definitely nothing in there. I have to find food myself. Luckily, though Sarah's new place isn't big, the neighborhood is nice. There are plenty of restaurants downstairs. I strolled down, grabbed a bowl of noodles, and remembered the bare essentials I saw in the bathroom. I hit the supermarket and came back with a bag of daily supplies. I bought a set for Sarah too, choosing colors and styles based on what I remembered she liked. Then, I started cleaning the rest of the house. I unlocked Sarah's door and saw that aside from a few things on the desk and bookshelf, there was only a bed and the bare necessities. I sighed helplessly. It must be hard for a woman raised in luxury to endure this kind of life. I looked around and got to work. Time ticked by, and by the time the whole place was spotless, it was already 10 p.m. I finished washing up and set my late-night snack on the coffee table, ready to enjoy it. Just as I opened the packaging to take the first bite, I heard the door open. I looked up and locked eyes with a gaze as clear as autumn water. The woman at the door looked at me expressionlessly. As she glanced around the room, a flash of surprise crossed her eyes before her gaze returned to me. I took the chance to look her over. She was a stunningly beautiful woman. She truly lived up to every superlative the author used to describe her. Feeling Sarah's gaze, I unconsciously gripped my chopsticks, feeling a surge of nerves. After all, I'm an imposter. Could someone like Sarah really not notice her husband is different? Her eyes made me feel like nothing could be hidden from her. Did you hire a cleaner? Do you still have enough money? Her tone was flat, carrying a hint of scrutiny. I instinctively shook my head. No, I cleaned it myself. You cleaned it? Yes, I did. Sarah looked astonished, staring straight at me. After a moment of eye contact, she was the first to look away. Is the money enough? It's enough. What about you? I asked back out of habit. The moment I said it, I felt a bit of regret. This question made Sarah look at me with surprise again. Then she spoke slowly. It's enough. After that, we both fell into silence. Sarah looked at the food I was eating and suddenly blurted out, I'm sorry. I didn't react immediately. I followed her gaze, then quickly shook my head. No, you have nothing to be sorry for. Sarah walked over and sat on the other sofa. She spoke up. The property issues have basically been handled. The assets under our names have been seized. Although there's nothing left, there are no debts. You don't need to worry about that. I have $30,000 left. Once things settle, I'll find a way to make money as soon as possible. You should still have $60,000 on your card. I've paid 6 months rent for this place. If you want a divorce, I'll give you another $20,000. You can stay here until you find a new place. I knew exactly what Sarah was thinking. Sarah is being more than fair to me. Our total assets are only $90,000. If we divorce, she's willing to give me $80,000. Let me stay here, and she probably won't even want the watches or clothes. That would leave her with just one room and $10,000. Seeing my silence, Sarah added, I'll set aside a portion of my future earnings for you every month, at least $3,000. Is that okay? I don't know what the future holds yet. So this is all I can promise for now. If I ever make a comeback, I'll compensate you. I quickly shook my head in refusal. Seeing this, Sarah fell into a somber silence. Realizing my gesture might have been misunderstood, I immediately explained. No, I don't want a divorce. And I don't need your money. Don't worry, I have enough to get by. I've accepted our reality. I'll be frugal from now on and find a way to earn my own money. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. A normal household doesn't actually spend that much. You don't want a divorce? But didn't you say yesterday? My face stiffened as I remembered. Yesterday, in a fit of rage, the original husband called Sarah useless and demanded a divorce. I was drunk then. I didn't mean it. I thought it through. I can't leave you at a time like this. Since we're married, I'll take responsibility for our life. Don't worry about me. I can support myself. I might even be able to support you. Sarah's gaze grew even stranger. But she didn't say much else. If you don't want a divorce, then forget it. Just let me know whenever you change your mind. Sarah got up to wash up in the bathroom. I awkwardly lowered my head and continued eating. I heard her footsteps stop, pausing for a few seconds after she entered the bathroom. She probably noticed how different it looked after my cleaning. Then, the sound of running water started. By the time I finished eating, Sarah had finished washing up. There was no awkward scene. Thank you. You should get some sleep early too. I scratched my head, feeling like I was in a dream. I organized my thoughts again, went to wash up, then returned to my room. I opened my laptop, applied for a personal shop on a secondhand marketplace, and finally went to sleep. The next morning, I habitually woke up at 6:30 a.m. I gathered the ingredients I bought yesterday and started some porridge. Then, I headed downstairs to buy buns and fried dough sticks. When I returned, Sarah happened to be opening her bedroom door. Hearing the door, she looked up and saw the breakfast in my hands. She instinctively rubbed her eyes, likely thinking she was seeing things. Good morning. I bought breakfast and made porridge. Go ahead and wash up. I headed to the kitchen to check the porridge, ignoring the astonished look Sarah gave me from behind. Since we both stayed up late, I specifically made red date and red bean porridge to boost our energy. It was almost done. I scooped 2 bowls, plated the buns and dough sticks, boiled some eggs, and prepped side dishes. When Sarah came out of the bathroom, she saw a breakfast that could actually be called a feast. The scene was incredibly cozy, but Sarah didn't feel that at all. She knew her husband too well. In over 3 years of marriage, I had never stepped into the kitchen or done a single chore. The only thing I knew how to do was spend money. Even the background check she did before marriage never mentioned these skills. Doubt bloomed in Sarah's mind. Had I been faking it all along? We used to have maids and nannies, so I never had to do anything. Now it's just the 2 of us and we're short on cash, so I'd feel bad eating out. My cooking isn't great, but it's edible. If you don't mind, you can eat at home from now on. So, when Grandpa asked if you could cook, you were lying to him. Sarah picked up a spoon and took a sip of the porridge. I froze, then laughed it off. My skills can't compare to a professional chef. Back then, I knew Grandpa only ate the finest delicacies, so I was too embarrassed to show off. The excuse was just plausible enough. Sarah nodded. Actually, the taste is quite good. I watched her eat with her usual elegance. I realized that for a woman raised on the finest things, eating street food was a sacrifice. After the meal, Sarah tried to help take the dishes to the kitchen. I stopped her immediately. It's fine, I'll handle it. I'll do the dishes. Go do whatever you need to do. The business assets haven't been fully processed yet, she said. I probably won't be back until tonight. Don't worry about me. Call me if anything happens. Once Sarah left, I finally felt a sense of relief. Even in ruin, that woman's noble aura is impossible to erase. That invisible pressure is always lingering. If I hadn't seen my share of powerful people before, I really might not have been able to handle her. I have a lot to do today. Not only do I need to buy things for the house, but I also need to take photos of those watches and clothes. I'll list them online. I figure if I sell everything, I can get over $1 million. That would give Sarah $700,000 in capital for whatever she wants to do next. Besides that, I need to study the internet users in this world and consider returning to my old profession. In my original world, I was a web novelist. My college major was interior design, but after graduating, I didn't want to do that as a career, so I just wrote. I made a good living doing freelance gigs. After washing the dishes, I took my shopping list and headed out. I've never been one for window shopping. I bought what I needed and came straight back. After setting everything up, I started taking photos of the watches and clothes. I worked until evening and was exhausted by the time I finished the watches. I heated up the leftover buns from breakfast, ate a few bites, and decisively went to the bedroom to browse web novels. I couldn't handle any more physical labor today, so I switched to mental work. 2 hours later, I clapped my hands happily and drained the coffee on my desk. I discovered that the web novels in this world are slightly behind my original world. I can rewrite my old stories here in an even better way. It's a godsend. Suddenly, I heard the front door open. I hesitated for a moment, then jumped off the bed and ran out in my slippers. I had to. This morning, I realized the front door wasn't deadbolted last night. Sarah is probably so used to living in a villa that she forgot these kinds of apartments need to be manually locked. She paused while hanging up her coat when she saw me. "You're back?" I said. I only noticed this morning that the door wasn't locked last night. In a villa, someone else handles security, but not here. This door has to be deadbolted at night. Otherwise, a thief could pry it open in seconds. I understand, she replied. We were basically like strangers. I had to take the initiative to find a topic. Have you eaten? I have. I bought some more daily necessities today. If you're missing anything, let me know and I'll go get it. Nothing for now. The conversation died. What else could I say? I thought for 3 seconds and chose to retreat. Then I'll head back to my room. Call me if you need anything. Sarah didn't turn on the lights until after I closed my door. She wandered through the kitchen and bathroom. There were many new things in the house today, giving it a bit more of a lived-in feel. This man actually intends to keep living here? He's like a completely different person. I had no idea what Sarah was thinking. I was focused on organizing my computer. The original owner worked hard in high school to get into a top university, but he basically slacked off. Once he got there, his computer skills were a total mess. This laptop is incredibly slow. I need to clean out the junk and see what the original owner was up to in the past. The last folder was named with a bunch of gibberish. I clicked it open, and wow, it was full of photos with a woman. She looked like a socialite and was quite pretty, but she wasn't my type, especially her smile. It was meant to look innocent and fragile. Seeing how intimate they were made my soul tremble. I quickly checked the dates. Thank God, they were all from before the marriage. That scared me to death. I kept a few photos that weren't so intimate, then quickly deleted the rest. I remembered now. This woman was the original owner's girlfriend back in college, a wealthy heiress. But they've been broken up for so long. There's no reason to keep this stuff. It's a Good thing Sarah doesn't pry. Otherwise, if she found these, it would be a ticking time bomb. By the time I finished with the computer, it was nearly 11. I yawned and collapsed onto the bed. The next morning, I woke up even earlier than yesterday. I didn't go out to buy food. Instead, I made fried rice and 2 side dishes. By the time Sarah got up, I had everything ready. She walked out after washing up just in time to eat. Looking at the lavish fried rice, Sarah was surprised. You even know how to make fried rice? Don't be picky, I joked. Sarah took a spoonful and put it in her mouth. It's actually quite delicious. Glad you like it. I'll be back for lunch today, she said. I froze for a split second, then reacted quickly. What do you want to eat? I'll eat whatever you make, but I'd like some white rice. Okay, then I'll make sweet and sour pork ribs, tomato and egg stir-fry, and egg drop soup. Is that enough for you? Should be. Then go ahead and get to work. After eating, Sarah grabbed her coat and left. I cleaned up the dishes again. Outside the complex, Sarah got into a car parked at the entrance. The driver was her former assistant, Chloe, a friend chosen by her grandfather to grow up alongside her. As soon as Sarah sat down, Chloe handed her a paper bag. Sarah, here's breakfast from the bakery. No need to eat street food. I already ate the fried rice Marcus made. Sarah's hand froze as she was handing over the food. What? Marcus knows how to cook. I was surprised too. Yesterday, he made porridge, and I thought that was a miracle. When he said he could cook, I thought he was just bragging. But today he actually made fried rice. He even said he'd cook some dishes for lunch. Hearing about this strange behavior, Chloe frowned. She asked, could he have some kind of scheme? I remember you two used to stay out of each other's way. He doesn't know how to do anything. Didn't he want a divorce? I already researched the steps, but now there's no word. Sarah looked up with a thoughtful smile on her face. He said he doesn't want a divorce anymore. He says he's accepted his life and wants to live well from now on. He even said he'd earn money, so I wouldn't have so much pressure. Sarah leaned back against the seat, her tone unreadable. Does he really intend to share your hardships because he can't stand to see you suffer? He's been idle for the 2 years you've been married. Chloe continued, he only knew how to spend money. One day he wants a divorce, the next he changes his mind. What do you think? They say true character shows in times of trouble. Maybe his conscience finally kicked in. Chloe added, we've seen plenty of people turn their backs on us lately. Maybe Marcus is just the type whose true character only shows when things get tough. Perhaps, Sarah replied. Let's just see. He won't affect anything anyway. Meanwhile, I spent the whole morning busy photographing clothes. I can't possibly wear over 80 outfits myself. Keeping 10 or so for appearances is enough. I'll sell the rest. I'd only finished half of them when I checked the clock. It was already 10 o'clock. Realizing I needed to go buy groceries, I quickly put the clothes away, threw on a jacket, and headed out. Leaving the supermarket with 2 heavy bags, I walked toward the complex. Suddenly, someone called my name. I turned around to see a very beautiful, elegantly dressed woman. Looking closer, wasn't this the woman from the photos last night? Seeing me turn, she immediately ran over. Marcus, how did you end up like this? I looked down at my clothes and then at the bags in my hands. Is there a problem? Why are you here? The woman looked at me with an expression of deep affection. Leave Sarah and come back to me. I can give you a better life now. She continued, it hurts my heart to see you suffering. Come back to me, and I'll make sure you live well. If it weren't for the memories of this woman, I might have been moved by the look in her eyes. This was Tiffany, the second daughter of the Miller Group. She was the original owner's ex-girlfriend. Back when they were together, she enjoyed his devotion while mocking him for wanting to marry into wealth. Although she was rich, she never spent a single cent on him. During their relationship, the original owner paid for everything. She treated him like a servant, full of superiority. It wasn't until Sarah approached him that Tiffany acted devoted, trying to get him to reject Sarah. The original owner had been truly sincere, sacrificing his own needs to save money for her. But this woman only wanted to toy with him. Fortunately, he was rational enough not to completely fall into her love trap. He had almost rejected Sarah back then, but by chance, he discovered Sarah's other side and gave up on Tiffany. Because of that, he felt only money was reliable, becoming the spendthrift he was later. You could say, this woman was responsible for at least half of the original owner's tragedy. Now that this toxic woman had found me, it certainly wasn't out of love. I didn't know her plan, but it was definitely malicious. Sarah used to be someone she could only admire from afar. Now that Sarah had lost her power, if I were easily lured away, it would be another blow to her. Maybe she wanted to do something else to Sarah. I shook my head. I'm not going with you. Go back where you came from. Tiffany snapped. Why? Sarah is a nobody now. She'll only make you suffer. What do you see in her? I replied. A married couple shares both joy and hardship. I am her husband, so naturally, I will stay by her side. I continued. No matter what she becomes, I can't just abandon her. Even if she's ruined or broken, I have to take care of her. This has nothing to do with money or suffering. As long as she doesn't divorce me, I won't leave her. Besides, now is when she needs me most. What nonsense are you talking about? If I'm not mistaken, she barely has any connection with you anymore. She just kept giving you money to buy things, but you have no real feelings for her. Why should you suffer with her? Tiffany looked at me like I was an idiot. Who says she wasn't good to me? When she had money, she gave me plenty every month. Even if she didn't have time for me, I could spend money as I pleased. That money might have been nothing to her, but it didn't just fall from the sky. Giving it was a kindness. Not giving it was her right. Since she gave it, I owe her. Now that she's down, she even agreed to let me stay in the rented apartment and give me most of the remaining money. She's done more than enough for me. If that's not being good to me, then what is? We didn't have feelings for each other, but to act with this much integrity is impressive. You say she's bad, but are you any better? How am I not good? If you follow me, I'll definitely treat you well. Before Tiffany could continue, I interrupted her. In college, when I had no money, you looked down on me. You thought I was just trying to use you. In the 2 years we knew each other, you never spent a cent on me. Even the gifts you gave were just free samples from your shopping. Instead, I worked part-time jobs to earn money for you to spend, and then you dumped me the moment things changed. You call that being good? What kind of person do you think I am? Did you hear something from Sarah and misunderstand me? Tiffany's eyes turned dark. You think too highly of yourself. Someone like Sarah wouldn't even mention you to me. She doesn't even notice you. You're the only one constantly staring at her, trying to find a sense of existence in her presence. As the saying goes, the world is what you are. Just go back to wherever you came from. I don't want to say anything harsher. Tiffany's gaze grew even darker as she took a few steps toward me, acting fragile. Marcus, Sarah must have brainwashed you. How could you think of me like that? I truly love you. Sarah is only holding on to you now because she has no money. You can't be this stupid. Stop, don't come any closer. In short, abandoning a spouse when they lose their status is not something a decent human being does. I won't leave her at a time like this. Give up on that idea. Even if I do leave her, it will only be when she no longer needs me. As Tiffany tried to speak, a burst of applause and cheers suddenly erupted nearby. Well said, young man, you've got your head on straight. Your values are solid. Exactly. If everyone thought like this, there wouldn't be so many divorces. You're a good man, young man. Your wife is lucky to have married you. I finally noticed a group of elderly neighbors nearby, clearly on their way home from exercising. They walked over, and the leading old man looked Tiffany up and down, shaking his head. Move along, little girl. This man is living a good life with his wife. It's not right for you to come here, trying to break them up. Think about it. If you were married, and some woman tried to steal your husband every day, how would you feel? Don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. You say his wife has no money, so he should leave? After parting ways with Tiffany, Marcus returned straight home. As soon as he opened the door, he saw me huddled on the rug in front of the living room sofa with my laptop, typing away rapidly. The room was filled with the savory aroma of meat. You're back, I said as Marcus placed the fruit he bought by the coffee table. He walked over curiously, and leaning in, he realized I was actually writing a story. I've forgotten most of my major, but I still remember some things I studied before. Plus, I've always read web novels, so I know the field well enough. I'm planning to try writing web fiction. You don't mind, do you? I asked, my hands never stopping their rhythm. Marcus felt this suited my situation, since he didn't expect me to earn money anyway. He replied, as long as you're happy. I knew a former heiress like her surely looked down on such things, or perhaps just didn't understand them. I quickly changed the subject. The ribs are already stewing. Dinner should be ready in about an hour. Go ahead and get busy. Marcus nodded, went to wash up and change, then entered his room and didn't come out again. An hour later, I knocked on his door to call him for dinner. 2 bowls of rice sat on the table, surrounded by a rich spread of colorful dishes. I had even added garnishes. It was clearly a meal prepared with great care. Influenced by my parents, my requirements for quality of life were not excessively high, but certainly not low. I cleaned the house regularly and cooked whenever I had time. My life was disciplined, so my domestic skills were solid. My earlier modesty was just being polite. While I wouldn't claim to be a chef, I definitely had decent home cooking skills. At past friend gatherings, I was always the one at the stove, earning plenty of praise. Marcus picked up a piece, put it in his mouth, and nodded. Not bad. It's quite delicious. That's good. Eat more then. Life has been a mess lately. You haven't eaten or rested well. It's been hard on you. I poured a glass of brewed lemon tea and pushed it toward him. This is lemon tea with a bit of honey for vitamin C. Drink as much as you can. Don't find it too sour. Marcus's face held a look of scrutiny. He felt the man in front of him seemed like a different person. This didn't match the information he'd gathered before or their 2 years together at all. However, he truly hadn't paid close attention to him before, so he couldn't be sure his old info was complete. He could only suppress his doubts. You've worked hard. No, not at all. I stay home all day out of the wind and rain. You're the one facing so much outside. That's the real struggle. Eat up. I smiled, just thinking about it. I knew Marcus used to be someone others could only dream of connecting with. While his grandfather was alive, who dared cross the family? Marcus had been the elite since childhood, the golden child other parents used to shame their own kids with. Now that the old man was gone, the rest of the extended family only thought about how to carve up what was left. They were dying to see Marcus collapse and would never lend a hand. They'd rather kick him while he was down, enjoying the sight of the man they once looked up to being trampled under their feet. Actually, when I read the novel before crossing over, I never understood why Marcus persisted so stubbornly. Unfortunately, our relationship isn't great right now, so I felt awkward asking. Thinking of Marcus, he was a top-tier scion once. He likely has his own reasons. I don't know how Marcus felt about the meal, but I was personally very satisfied. I assume he didn't hate my cooking, considering he ate 2 bowls. I'll leave the dishes in the kitchen for now. Don't touch them. I'll wash them after my nap. I put the dishes in the sink, washed some fruit to leave on the coffee table, and went back to my spot to type. Having written things before, my speed was naturally very fast. Combined with my practice typing speed, I finished a 2,000-word outline in just that morning's time. At this rate, I could finish 20,000 words by tomorrow to submit. Marcus and I are in a tough spot and desperately need money. I don't understand business, so I can only earn what I can to ease his pressure. Marcus went back to his room again and closed the door. I don't know what he was doing in there. At nearly 1:30, I forced myself to shut the laptop and go take a nap. The living room fell silent. Inside his bedroom, Marcus hesitated before replying to Sarah on his phone. Forget it. I'll see how he behaves first. No need to investigate for now. Maybe I'm overthinking. Let's just wait and see. Less than an hour later, my alarm went off. I crawled out of bed, feeling a bit lightheaded. I stumbled to the bathroom and found the door closed. Cursing my own grogginess, I grabbed the handle and yanked the door open just as I was about to. I stepped inside, looked up, and locked eyes with the person inside. Sorry, I'm half asleep. I thought I was alone, I shouted, then ran back to my room with a bright red face and slammed the door. I wanted to kick myself. That was so embarrassing. There was a distance of 4 or 5 meters between us. It's fine. Don't be so embarrassed. The house is small. We're bound to bump into each other. You'll get used to it. Right? I'll get used to it. Are you not going out today? The things I needed to handle are done. I'm staying in this afternoon. After Marcus finished speaking, he suddenly thought of something. I haven't been home much these past few days. Is there anything you need help with? I felt a bit nervous. What's wrong? Is something the matter? Although I grew up in a wealthy family, I'm not so useless that I lack basic life skills. Now that we're living together in this small home, you can tell me directly if anything comes up. I'm not just a money-making machine. Okay, I got it. Looking at Marcus's deadpan expression, I actually found him quite cute. Whether this man succeeds or fails in business, his looks are truly beyond reproach. As the most handsome man under the author's pen, he looks stunning even with no expression. I think it's impressive that I can face a man like this without my heart skipping a beat. Marcus gave me a deeply meaningful look before returning to his room. Suddenly, I realized something and ran to his door. What do you want for dinner? Whatever. I'm not picky. Well, for a former high society scion, he's easier to please than I thought. I strolled back to the coffee table and continued typing. Just after finishing a chapter, I remembered the items I listed on the secondhand site. I quickly opened the app to check. Wow, 12 watches and 2 outfits have already sold. I don't know much about the value of these luxury goods, so when I listed them, I checked the prices online first and listed them at a 20% discount. Many of these things haven't even been unboxed, but I was afraid Marcus might need money urgently, so I didn't dare list them too high. I was worried they were too expensive for anyone to buy, but they're selling fast. I started recording the shipping addresses. After saving my document, I ran into the bedroom to find the watches and clothes. Since there were quite a few items to mail, Marcus heard the commotion and opened his door. What are you doing? There were too many old clothes and watches. I don't go out much now, and they're just taking up space. I picked some out to sell. These sold today, so I need to ship them to the buyers soon. You don't have to. We haven't reached the point where you need to sell your things. Actually, I just find them bulky. Besides, they aren't the latest models anymore, and I won't use them. It's better to turn them into cash. That way, if I see a new product I like later, I can still buy it. That should be enough to save his pride, right? I thought I was being quite thoughtful, but I don't know which part of my words touched him. Marcus took my hand, squeezed it briefly, and then let go. He didn't stop me anymore and just said, okay, buy new ones later. As if I dare buy new ones. One watch costs tens of thousands, which is enough for 6 months of living expenses. If I bought a few watches, I'd be eating dirt. I complained internally, but didn't let it show on my face. Wealthy young masters all care about their dignity. I flashed a smile. I'll wait for you to buy me new watches in the future. Marcus seemed dazed for a moment by this smile. Familiar, yet feeling very strange lately. He lowered his head, saw the packed boxes on the floor, and leaned over. He picked them up and helped put them into the courier's large bag. It wasn't until the courier left with the items that Marcus asked me, how many do you plan to sell? Originally, there were over 100 watches and 80 outfits. Over 70 of the watches are still sealed. I plan to sell all of those. Of the remaining 50, I'll sell about 40. Keeping 10 watches should be enough. As for the clothes, I'll keep about 30 sets and sell the rest. I thought Marcus would stop me, but he just nodded and said nothing more. He casually picked up an apple, sat on the sofa, and started peeling it. I couldn't quite gauge his thoughts or if I had hurt his pride, but survival is more important than these messy feelings. Even if he minds, there's nothing I can do. This morning, I checked the housing prices in this novel's world. They've only risen halfway. I don't know what Marcus's plans are or if he'll truly make a comeback. But no matter what, I have to find a way to buy a house first. By selling the watches and clothes, I'll have enough for a down payment. I'll give the rest of the money to Marcus and pay off the mortgage myself. That way, even if he can't make a comeback, we won't be without a place to stay. My mind was racing as I worked. I stared at the computer screen by the coffee table. The scent of apple wafted toward me. The skin was peeled so evenly and beautifully that I couldn't help but swallow hard. Suddenly, Marcus handed the peeled apple to me. Is this for me? Marcus pushed it closer. I've made you suffer. I was truly flattered. In the original story, Marcus never let men get close, and he certainly had no patience for them. Now, he was actually peeling an apple for me, and so perfectly too. It was shocking. I quickly took the apple and made my position clear. It's nothing. It was bought with your money anyway. I'm already grateful you didn't resent my spending habits before. Marcus actually smiled. This man usually kept a cold face. While not exactly icy, he wasn't easy to approach. This sudden smile left me dazed. How could a man be this stunning? Don't worry. In the future, I'll definitely buy you even more watches. I nodded subconsciously, then felt a bit shy when I snapped out of it. I believe you'll make a comeback. Don't rush. I'll wait for you to buy them then. Good luck. You can do it. Marcus stood up with a trace of a smile and went back to his room. In a place I couldn't see, a hint of amusement flashed in his eyes. I spent the afternoon grinding out my draft and finally finished over 10,000 words. We had a simple dinner and went back to our own tasks. By midnight, I successfully finished 20,000 words. The next morning after breakfast, Marcus went out. I tinkered with my submissions and checked the secondhand site. 8 more watches and 1 outfit sold. I could practically see piles of cash crawling into my wallet. I was in a great mood. Just as I finished organizing my draft and sent it off, I heard a knock. Who is it? I stood up to open the door. A man's voice came from outside. It's me, Julian. Julian? Who's that? I tried to remember as I went to the door, but I couldn't find this person in my memories. I opened the door to find a man standing there. He had a roguish, handsome look. The way he looked me up and down like a girl made me feel very uncomfortable. Aren't you going to invite me in? Julian said, trying to push his way inside. I wasn't sure who this guy was, so I blocked him. Who are you looking for? If you're Leo, then I'm looking for you. He squeezed his way into the room. Marcus isn't here right now, is he? Since he was already inside, I couldn't exactly throw him out. I closed the door and set a cup of tea in front of him. He's not here. He left early this morning. Do you have some business with me? Of course. To be honest, while you look decent enough, you have no family background and no ability. Marcus really suffered by marrying you. I know it was because of his grandfather's debt of gratitude. That's the only reason he married you. But you've been married all these years and haven't helped his career at all. You do nothing but shop and play. Aren't you ashamed? May I ask what your relationship is to Marcus? Marcus and I grew up together as childhood sweethearts. He's always been especially good to me. If it weren't for you, we might have been together long ago. But I've never heard of you. Isn't that obvious? Would Marcus really mention our childhood sweetheart relationship in front of you? It seemed true that Marcus wouldn't mention it to the original owner. First, they weren't close. Second, he wasn't the type to gossip. I nodded. So, what is your purpose in coming to see me? Right now, Marcus needs help. How can you have the nerve to keep dragging him down? My father has already agreed that as soon as we marry, he'll help Marcus. He'll help him make a comeback. So, you should divorce him. If Marcus wants to divorce me, he can just come and tell me himself. Why does he need you to pass the message? I'm not the type to cling desperately. Or is this actually just your own idea? How could Marcus take the initiative to do something so heartless? He's obviously too embarrassed to say it. You have to take the initiative yourself. You've spent so much of his money over the years. You haven't helped him at all, yet he's never made things hard for you. Now that he's in trouble and you can't help, shouldn't you at least stop being a burden? If you propose the divorce, it saves everyone's face. That's not important. Marcus isn't good at expressing himself, and besides, he doesn't love you. I can help him, while you're just a burden. I'm 100 times better for him than you are. You're wrong. I might not know Marcus perfectly, but I'm certain he would never easily accept your father's help, especially if that help is in exchange for marrying you. You think persuading your father to help is good for him, but have you considered his reputation? If he relies on you to make a comeback, he'll never escape the stigma of marrying for money. I know Marcus wouldn't want to be a kept man. If he weren't so stubborn, he wouldn't have faced so many risks. Why would a man like that use his marriage as a bargaining chip? At least, not in the short term. Actually, I don't mind divorcing Marcus, but I won't be goaded into it by someone else. I respect his choices, but I have my own stance. Julian looked like I'd stepped on his tail and exploded. You just want to cling to him and refuse the divorce. How can a man be so selfish? Marcus has been more than fair to you. Now that he finally has a chance to rise again, you're going to ruin it with your own hands? You're disgusting. Mr. Julian, I've been polite enough to you already. You barge in here and say all these inappropriate things. People would think you're desperate to destroy a family. Since when is my marriage any of your business? Even if you mean well, you shouldn't come to me. Go talk to him. I can't decide his life for him. It's not like I'm deathly obsessed with staying married. Think about it. If he really loved you, why didn't you marry before his grandfather found me? If the feelings weren't there then, why aren't you even a couple now? You claim he's not the type to betray his heart, yet here you are, trying to make him do exactly that. You haven't considered his feelings at all. How dare you say that to me? You're just a pretty face who knows nothing but how to spend money. What right do you have? I have every right because, as of today, I am still his legal husband. As long as I am his husband, I have the right to speak to anyone trying to interfere in our marriage. Yes, I used to just spend money and didn't help him much. But he agreed to let me buy those things. He didn't mind. So why are you so anxious? If you want to marry him, go tell him. If he agrees, I'll divorce him without a word. But I won't agree just because you're standing here telling me to. You're shameless. Julian slammed his cup onto the table in a rage. I wasn't even angry anymore. I calmly toyed with my own cup. You're the one trying to destroy a marriage, yet you don't feel shameless? Where do you get the courage to call me that? Since you think I'm shameless, I suppose we have nothing more to say to each other. So in the end, you just refuse to divorce. Think whatever you want. Realizing he wouldn't get his way today, Julian stood up and stormed out. Before leaving, he turned back to shout, "Just you wait. Marcus will dump you sooner or later." The door slammed shut. I let out a long sigh. It's one thing for the heroines to be popular, but even the villain is a magnet for trouble. If it weren't for my conscience, I'd love to divorce. But I can't just take over someone's body and act like I own nothing. I didn't spend the money, but the debt is in my name now. I need to focus on selling these watches and saving for a down payment. I had prepared the wonton skins early and bought the filling yesterday, so my movements were practiced and rhythmic. I was making them at a rate of 1 every few seconds, and soon I had over 20 ready. As I worked, Marcus returned. I was so focused on my task that I didn't even look up. You're back. Marcus stood at the door, seeing my fast movements, but unable to tell exactly what I was doing. What are you making? He asked instinctively. Wontons. We're having wontons for lunch today, and then I'll make some pancakes. That way we don't have to worry about not being full, I said naturally. Making pancakes and wontons from scratch wasn't something a typical home cook could pull off. Suspicion flickered in Marcus's mind again, but the next moment, seeing me sitting there so quietly and skillfully wrapping wontons, he felt there was nothing to nitpick. Actually, I haven't eaten these in a long time, Marcus blurted out involuntarily. He immediately felt it was a strange thing to say and shut his mouth. He walked into the bathroom to wash his hands as if trying to hide his awkwardness. I didn't notice his odd behavior at all. I love wontons myself. I figured Marcus had been so busy with his business troubles lately that he hadn't had the heart to care about food. Besides, wontons are just a snack, so it's normal not to have them for a while. Do you want to eat more? If you do, I'll boil extra. I'll freeze the leftovers, so if we don't feel like cooking one day, we can just boil them, then boil a few more. Marcus came out after washing his hands and gave that simple reply. He really hadn't eaten street snacks in a long time, not since 3 or 4 years ago. If I hadn't brought it up, he wouldn't have even realized how long it had been since he last relaxed. Okay, then I'll boil more in a bit, I said, my hands never stopping. To me, life is full of hope and small joys. You have to make your own happiness. Being able to live a second time is lucky enough. Every gift in life should be cherished. Just being able to sit here and make wontons is a pleasure. Nearly an hour later, 2 steaming bowls of wontons were on the table. I called Marcus out. I had already sat down and nodded toward the chair, signaling for Marcus to sit. I had an expectant smile on my face. Try them. I think my wontons are pretty good. I don't know your appetite, and wontons aren't that filling, so I made some wraps too. By the way, do you eat wraps? Hearing me ask that, he found it a bit funny but didn't show it. Of course I do. I'm a normal person. He sat down, tried one, and gave his evaluation. The taste is quite good. See, I told you my wontons were good, mostly because I like eating them. Since they're good, eat more. We ate at different speeds. Although Marcus only ate about half as much as I did, we finished at almost the same time. When I went to wash the dishes, he suddenly spoke up. I'll buy a dishwasher later. It's just a few bowls. It doesn't take much effort. There's no need to waste money on that. It's fine, Marcus said casually. My expression instantly became conflicted. What's wrong with him? Has he not adjusted yet? Does he not realize we aren't rich like we used to be? I struggled with whether to remind him bluntly, but looking at his slightly furrowed brow, the reminder I intended to give changed as it left my mouth. Fine, I'll go buy one later. Don't worry about it. I'm very picky, so it might take me a long time to choose one. I sighed inwardly after saying it. Being handsome really is an advantage. I couldn't even bring myself to say anything that might hurt his pride. Since I already said I'm picky, it'll be normal if I can't find one I like for a long time. Marcus looked at my conflicted face and suddenly understood what his husband was worried about. For a moment, a very strange feeling washed over him. In the first half of his life, although his grandfather forced him to experience hardship, he hadn't felt the sting of being broke since finishing his training at 15. This time, it wasn't that he lacked money, but that his nominal husband thought he was broke. Yet even under that impression, I hadn't said the words, "We have no money," to his face. It was a strange feeling, and he couldn't quite explain his own thoughts. I have things to do. I'm going to my room, Marcus said, turning to leave me alone with the dishes. I hummed a song while washing up. Life is pretty good. I have a roof over my head, food to eat, and the watches and clothes are selling well. Soon I'll have a house of my own. Life will only get better. Marcus is capable. His comeback is only a matter of time. Maybe he'll even share some money with me then. Even if he doesn't make it back, it's fine. I can support the household myself. For now, having him here as a sort of friend means I don't have to worry about being alone if something happens. She definitely won't stay idle forever. When the time comes for a normal life, if she wants a divorce, I'll grant it. We can both find suitable partners and be well. After finishing the dishes, I was heading for a nap when Marcus suddenly opened his door. He walked out and asked, "Did Julian make things difficult for you today?" "Not really. He asked me to take the initiative to divorce you, but I refused. I thought you had nothing going on with him. If you like him, we can divorce anytime." He also said his father could help. "As long as you two get married, there is nothing between us, and I won't divorce you because of him. You did well. As for the rest, we'll talk later. I don't need help from others for now. These aren't problems his father can solve." "I understand. I thought so too." I stood up to head back to my room for a nap. Marcus suddenly spoke, looking at me searchingly. "Do you have something else to do? Since when did you have the habit of taking afternoon naps?" My body stiffened, feeling slightly guilty. I explained, "I just suddenly realized my old habits weren't great and my physical health was poor, so I'm forcing myself to adjust. Actually, you should try napping too. You'll have more energy and be more efficient in the afternoon. Then go rest." Marcus stood up and returned to his room, leaving me standing there feeling uneasy. I wondered if I had said anything wrong, having experienced the major upheaval of a family bankruptcy. He sat back at the table and fell into deep thought. After a while, he seemed undecided, but he pulled out his phone and made a call. "Buy a dishwasher and have it delivered to my place in the next few days. Some things still need observation. Before that, let's just continue with the current situation." After the call, Marcus put his phone on the table and caught sight of the bed. My words about a nap echoed in his mind. Is napping really that good? Before he could snap out of it, he had already involuntarily lain down on the bed. His body relaxed. It actually felt quite good. He had been busy with so many things these past few years that he hadn't had a peaceful sleep in a long time. Without realizing it, It was already 2:30 p.m. I turned the handle and came out of my room, taking a big stretch. I went to the bathroom to wash my face. Just as I stepped out, I saw Marcus coming out of his room, his eyes still a bit dazed. Good lord, does he always look like this when he wakes up? He's way too handsome. To think such a person is a villain. The author must have put a lot of effort into creating this antagonist, only to give him such a tragic ending. What a waste. As I thought this, I didn't notice my expression softening into pity. Marcus saw that look of pity, and it seemed to sting him. He immediately looked away. Do you need the bathroom? No. I'm already done. After you. I quickly moved out of the way. Once Marcus went in, I sat back down at the computer to start writing. As soon as I opened my chat app, I saw a friend request from a literary website editor. Marcus heard the commotion outside and came out after washing his hands. What's wrong? My novel passed the initial review. Once it passes the second and final reviews, it'll turn into cold, hard cash. Is that so? Then congratulations. Same to you. After saying that, I ignored Marcus and immersed myself in my novel, typing away. Seeing me busy at the computer, Marcus went back to the bathroom. That afternoon, I contacted a courier for a pickup. The courier was a young woman. Mr. Miller, are you running an online store? These watches look quite nice. If possible, could you sell me one for cheap? I want to give it to my boyfriend as a gift. I was stunned and waved my hands repeatedly. Sorry, but I don't run an online store. I'm just helping a friend ship these. I can't make the call on something this expensive. If you need one, I can ask for you. They're worth over 10,000? Oh my god, then these watches must be luxury goods. I don't really know, maybe. Anyway, they're quite pricey. As I was speaking, the elevator doors nearby opened. Marcus walked out. He had heard everything I just said. What's going on? Nothing. The courier wanted to buy a watch, but they aren't mine. I thought I'd ask my friend if she could get a discount. No. If these are luxury watches, then forget it. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't afford to wear something so expensive. Is this all for the courier? If so, I'll pack up and head out. I'll ship them shortly. Yes, that's all. Sorry for the trouble. The courier picked up the package and entered the elevator. The elevator left. I realized I was blocking the door and quickly let Marcus in. Why are you back so soon? Not much to handle today. I explained about the courier. I said the watches weren't mine because it felt inappropriate to claim them. Our security here isn't clear. If people realize there's wealth here, it could be dangerous. Plus, that courier has been here a few times. We're familiar now. I'll need her help for future shipments. If I say they're mine, but don't give a big discount, she might get resentful. What if she messes with my goods? I could follow protocol to handle it, but it's a hassle. You can know a person's face, but not their heart. Besides, we aren't that close, so it's not worth the risk. You've thought this through. By the way, in a few days, there's a cocktail party we need to attend together. Get ready early. A cocktail party? I've rarely been to those. Will I cause trouble for you if I go now? It's fine. At this point, no one can cause me trouble anymore. Even if there is trouble, I don't mind a little more. Marcus calmly picked up a glass from the table and poured some water. His words left a bitter taste in my mouth. All right, I'll prepare well. For the next 2 days, Marcus still left early and returned late, but he would eat at home in the morning and evening. I habitually prepared 2 portions of food. I spent my days honestly writing and selling things while constantly researching how to attend a gala. This day, as soon as Marcus entered, he noticed I wasn't curled up by the sofa as usual. Instead, the moment I heard the door, I looked at him with burning eyes and a slightly eerie expression. He looked at the clothes on the sofa and asked, "What's wrong? Why so many clothes? Help me out, please. I haven't been to a party in so long. I have no idea what style is suitable now. These are the formal outfits I picked out that seem okay. Which one looks better? Didn't you used to love picking your own clothes? Back then, the environment changed so suddenly, I was sensitive. I insisted on picking my own clothes just to protect what little dignity I had left. But now I've realized, a person is who they are. There's no need to be so sensitive. I still can't decide." Marcus looked them over and casually pointed to the most classic one. The black suit. This one. It looks quite suitable. Okay, this one it is. With the outfit decided, I packed the other clothes away. When it was time for the banquet, Marcus drove me himself. I deliberately sat in the back seat. Marcus glanced at me through the rearview mirror. "You're wearing so little. Aren't you cold?" "I'm fine. It's long-sleeved, so it's not that cold. Why do I feel like your attitude toward me is a bit strange? How could it be? We have no grudge. You're so good to me. I can't thank you enough. It's just that we didn't interact much before. Lately, we're seeing each other every day, and I'm not quite used to it. I'll get used to it over time." Marcus watched me in the mirror as I scratched my head. My fake smile vanished, and I looked a bit lost. Suddenly, the urge to talk died. Neither of us said anything more. Soon, we arrived at the city's largest hotel. Just as Marcus and I reached the entrance, someone intentionally blocked our path. Standing before us was a somewhat obese man with greasy hair. A brightly dressed woman was clinging to his arm, and his face was lit with obvious malice. "The land on the east side, Guan Yuan Group, is interested lately. Shouldn't you look into that, Mr. Lee?" Mr. Lee froze, his expression twisting before he forced a smile. "Mr. Miller, you're as sharp as ever. It's been a while. A pleasure indeed." Marcus ignored him, leading me right past him and further inside. I followed Marcus into the party and saw several old fair-weather friends from my memory. They were all live-in husbands or sons of various wealthy ladies, and none were highly regarded. Some of them saw me Aren't you going over? Why would I go over? To seek death? I'm not going. We weren't that close anyway, just surface-level acquaintances. Now that the situation has changed, it's better not to be friends. We took a few steps when two more young men and the women on their arms walked over. The man leading them was slightly older, about 30, with a fake smile plastered on his face. Isn't this the long-lost Mr. Miller? And this person beside you is, look at my memory. I must be getting old. This is your wife, isn't it? It's rare to see you two out together today. What's the matter? Is life not going well? Are you short on money lately? I've always heard you two don't get along. It seems people were just talking nonsense. I thought Mr. Miller was so sick he couldn't get out of bed, but here you are. Smart people learn to avoid the same hole twice. But some aren't so bright. They aren't satisfied until they fall into the same pit and die. Don't you agree, Mr. Miller? True, but some pits were traps before, and now they're treasures. When people see a treasure, naturally, everyone wants a piece. I'm sure Sophie understands. By the way, I heard your business is struggling lately. Since we're old friends, I'll give you some advice. Sometimes wealth isn't just money, it's people. I instinctively clenched my fists and stepped in front of Marcus. Just then, a woman's voice called out, "Sister, what are you doing here?" The two men's faces paled as they stepped back, just looking around. What's the meaning of you two standing here? Since when are you allowed to just strike up a conversation with my sister? Have the Miller and Stone families lost all their standards? Why are you still standing there, waiting for an invitation? You think I have a good temper like my sister? The two men nodded and hurried away. Their female companions tried to look back curiously, but Ryan snapped at them. Sister, why did you even bring him? You should have told me. Those two idiots actually dared to show off in front of you. You're way too nice. It's fine. They're just clowns. But you usually avoid these events. Why are you here today? I was afraid you'd run into some blind fools who don't know their place. I had to fight my manager to cancel my schedule for this. Ryan turned his head and looked at me. He sized me up from head to toe with a sharp gaze. Given my sister's current situation, you won't be squeezing any more money out of her. Stop acting. Just leave. I smiled awkwardly and stayed silent. Don't talk like that. We aren't divorced yet. Let's go sit over there. Fine, I'll come with you. With Ryan sitting beside us, no one else dared to approach. Anyone with status knew Ryan was not a man to be trifled with. I expected a night of awkward encounters, but before long, Marcus was ready to leave. Ryan tried to invite him somewhere, but Marcus refused. As we sat in the car, I watched Marcus drive. I hesitated for 3 full minutes before finding the courage to speak. Did you achieve what you wanted at the party today? I suppose so. Since I sold those watches and clothes, I have a bit of money now. I was thinking, since our assets are cleared and we have no debt, maybe we should buy a small apartment. We can make a down payment, and I'll use my writing fees for the rest. We'll keep 6 months of living expenses for emergencies. If you need the rest for business, take it. Marcus looked at me in the mirror. No rush, he said. How can we not be in a rush? Housing prices change every day. If we don't buy now, we'll lose out later. Renting isn't a long-term plan. If you're worried, put the house in your name. At least with a house, we'll always have a place to stay. Fine, I'll consider it. That night, I went back to my room to keep writing. Marcus, however, received a phone call. Sir, I found what you asked for. I sent an encrypted file to your email. I haven't shown this to anyone. Take a look. Marcus stared at his laptop screen and let out a soft sigh. His fingers tapped a rhythmic pattern on the desk, his brow slightly furrowed. After a long silence, he picked up his phone and dialed. Hello, Dr. Wong. I have a question. Can a person, without multiple personalities or schizophrenia, suddenly become someone else? Like their habits and values completely changed overnight. Minutes later, he hung up and leaned back, a cold smile forming. Marcus slowly and methodically finished eating a steamed bun. He suddenly looked up, appearing curious. What kind of stories do you usually write in your novels? I paused, holding my bun. My writing? I write all sorts of genres. I don't limit myself to just a few. I want to write everything. But my favorites are transmigration and high-concept fantasy stories. I love them all. Does transmigration really exist? Maybe. I think it's a real possibility. No one can really say what the world is. Sometimes we think we live in a very real world, but maybe it's just a world constructed by someone's pen. Who knows what the world is really like? Since we can't even confirm that, how can we say transmigration doesn't exist? A world constructed by a pen. Of course, in someone else's story, we might just be an anonymous extra or even the original host of a body. If you were the one who transmigrated, what do you think your past life was like? I think I was probably a very happy person. An only child with loving parents. I could do whatever I wanted. Maybe my parents passed away suddenly, but I studied what I loved. I didn't lack food, drink, or money. Life was decent. If I transmigrated in the end, it would have to be because I'd probably be the unlucky type who died getting stabbed by a thug while trying to save someone else. That's a very unlucky way to go. That really is unlucky. So, think twice before acting. Even with a kind heart, you must act within your limits. True. That is very important. Neither of us mentioned the topic again. After breakfast, Marcus went out. I stayed in the room alone to write. Marcus wasn't coming back for lunch, so I happily ordered takeout. After eating, I quickly tidied up and threw out the trash. In the afternoon, I shipped out the items I had sold as usual, then went out to buy groceries. Walking through the supermarket, I suddenly realized that my life now wasn't much different from my previous life. As I was thinking, an older woman nearby suddenly spoke to me. Aren't you that young man who was harassed by that toxic woman last time? Out buying groceries again. Oh, it's you. Yes, I'm just picking up some things to cook dinner tonight. Not bad. Not many young people know how to cook these days. Your wife is lucky to have married you. No. She's busy with work all day, so I've been doing more of the housework lately. I'm the lucky one for meeting her. As long as people know how to be grateful, life won't be bad. It's rare for a young man like you to think this way. If your wife is as grateful as you are, your future together will definitely get better and better. I smiled and picked out a good head of broccoli. Just as I was about to check the tomatoes, Marcus appeared beside me out of nowhere. What are you doing here? I got back early, so I came to buy a few things. I just happened to see you. It's fine. I only have 4 kinds of vegetables. They aren't heavy. Go ahead and buy what you need. Those tomatoes over there look good. I want to make sweet and sour ribs. Marcus likes sour food. I bought various ingredients and quite a few essential snacks. I picked up one more item, and then we went to the checkout together. Oh, young man, we meet again. This must be your wife, right? She's absolutely beautiful. Yes, this is my wife. I have truly never seen such a beautiful young lady. She looks even better than a movie star. No wonder you refused to get a divorce. That woman who came to pester you before is really nothing compared to your wife. Not only is she not as pretty, but her grace is miles behind. I don't know how that person had the nerve to come looking for you in the first place. I gasped, my heart leaping into my throat. Marcus looked at me with a deep, meaningful gaze. I gave an awkward smile. What she said is true. That person was no good. There's no comparison. I'd have to be crazy to ever associate with someone like that again. She only came to see me with bad intentions. Luckily, I'm not as foolish as I used to be. I'm not that easy to fool anymore. The cashier swiped the card and handed it back to me with both hands. Your card, sir. Goodbye, ma'am. I hurriedly walked out with Marcus. Once we left the supermarket, I started to explain. I think you should know. Before I married you, I had an ex-girlfriend named Sophie. Back in college, I didn't understand how wicked people could be, so I fell for a toxic woman like her. Of course, after marrying you, I cut off all contact. That day, I had just come out of the supermarket when I ran into her. I knew she was up to no good, so when she asked me to go with her, I refused immediately. That lady was the one who helped me back then. I nodded, explaining that she was one of the kind people who helped me scold her. I knew Sophie was the second daughter of the Miller Group, and I'd heard she was incredibly petty. It's true, she's extremely petty. Back then, she put on a real act. She acted like some elite professional. At that time, I thought she was a particularly outstanding senior student, so I felt a bit inferior in front of her. Who knew I'd later hear her say she actually liked my classmate? She was just playing with me. It makes me furious just talking about it. I'm disgusted by that kind of trashy woman. I'll just stay far away from her from now on. I definitely won't deal with her. Talking to someone like that is a waste of life. After getting back, I tidied up and started cooking. Marcus walked into the kitchen and asked, "Do you need help?" I was startled and waved him off. "No need. I can handle it alone. You're busy all day. Go do your thing. I'll call you when it's time to eat." Marcus dried his hands and turned to leave. I kept busy with my apron on. Once the food was ready and on the table, I went to knock on Marcus's door. Marcus released the mouse, closed all the pages on his screen, and then got up to eat. The two of us usually don't have much to say, and I didn't feel like initiating a conversation. But today was an exception. As soon as Marcus sat down, he said, "Someone is coming to install a dishwasher tomorrow." I paused while picking up food. "A dishwasher? You bought one. Didn't I say I'd pick one out slowly? You said you have trouble making decisions, so I just picked one for you. You just need to use it." I felt a bit helpless. "Then I'll try my best not to go out tomorrow." The topic ended there. Just as we were about to continue eating, my phone rang. "Hello." I was stunned for a moment, not reacting in time to why Marcus would want me to meet Sarah. Sarah's voice continued on the other end. "Alex, don't become hostile to everyone just because you've faced setbacks. Not everyone is looking to step on you or laugh at you. Even if I can't do much, I can still chat with you to make you feel better. You've been suffering in silence for so long. Do you really want to keep bottling it up?" In the past, Sarah always played the role of a soulful, intellectual sister to me. I would tell her everything. That's why I used to do whatever she asked. Because of this, Sarah instinctively thought my cold attitude now was just me being stubborn. "Fine, since you put it that way, I'll meet you." I wanted to see what she had to say. I received a signal from Marcus and had to harden my resolve. The person on the other end sounded very relieved. After a few more words, we hung up. "Why did you want me to meet her?" Marcus put down his chopsticks and said calmly, "Ms. Sarah never acts without a profit motive. Before, she sought you out to get intelligence regarding my movements. Now that you have no utility left, the fact that she's looking for you means she's found a new way to use you. If you don't go, she'll just find another way." I understood instantly. The subtext was, since you can't avoid it sooner or later, it's better to just give the other party a chance to get close from the start. Sure enough, Marcus's next sentence was, "At any time, having some control over the situation is better than having no control at all. Besides, knowing the other party has bad intentions and being on guard is better than being plotted against behind your back without knowing." Yeah, I get it. It's not that I didn't know this logic. It's just that my previous environment didn't require me to think so much. I still haven't fully adapted to my current role or environment. But Marcus is usually so quiet. Is she teaching me by suddenly saying all this? Opposite me, Marcus picked up her chopsticks again and began eating methodically. From my perspective, this woman's eating posture was as elegant as ever. It didn't seem like she cared at all about being plotted against. That's right, plotted against. As a regular person, I didn't think I had any value for Sarah to plot over. The only one worth plotting against was Marcus, the wealthy heiress. Marcus's only instruction regarding my meeting with Sarah was to chat casually but avoid sensitive topics, then come back and tell her the information. I nodded and took note. Sarah's chosen location was a famous cafe downtown. When I got the notification, I checked online. The cheapest drink was over $200. When had I ever been so extravagant? When the day came to keep the appointment, I dressed myself up well. Although I was destined to be mocked later, at least on the surface, I couldn't let people criticize me endlessly. However, I never would have guessed that the first thing Sarah said upon seeing me would be, she started complaining. Alex, I know you're hurting. You've always been so proud, but things have come to this. Why put on a brave face in front of me? I won't look down on you. If I didn't know Sarah's true nature, I might have actually thought she wanted the best for me. It wasn't easy for her to say those things while maintaining such a worried, caring expression. You're joking, Sarah. No matter how hard life gets, I can't give up on looking good. After all, I'm handsome. It'd be a waste not to dress up. Youth is fleeting. I can't waste a single day of it. Especially with my natural looks, I have to stay sharp. Sarah chuckled. Fine, fine. Our Alex is the most handsome. Let's go. I know you've been in a bad mood lately. Let's have tea and chat. I can't do much, but I can listen to you vent. You'll feel better once you get all that stress out. She kept smiling and patted my shoulder as the waiter led us to a private room with the best view. I marveled inwardly. This was truly a place for the rich. It blew those small tea houses away. This courtyard alone was stunning. The design clearly came from a master. Sarah saw me staring at the courtyard and assumed I was reminiscing about my past life of luxury. She sneered internally, but remained gentle. Alex, what do you want to drink? I snapped back to reality, my eyes lighting up. I rattled off a long list of names, all the famous specialties I'd researched online. Alex, you're ordering so much. Can you really finish all that? I knew Sarah was wondering why I'd suddenly lost all sense of shame, acting like I'd never eaten before. But I didn't try to hide it. If I can't finish, I'll just pack it up. It's no big deal. Pack it up? You're actually going to take leftovers home? Are you really that desperate for food? Exactly. It's wasteful not to. I'm not who I used to be. I have to save where I can. Besides, thriftiness is a traditional virtue. Why do you look so surprised, Sarah? Do you have an issue with traditional virtues? Sarah opened her mouth, realized she couldn't argue, and forced a laugh. You're right. What you're doing is fine. Yeah, I think so too. I used to be so extravagant. I bought so many luxury goods I couldn't even use. It was a waste of money, time, and energy. If I'd used that time for something meaningful, imagine how much better it would be. There are so many people who need help. How did I never see that before? Helping poor children would have been better than throwing luxury items in a corner. By the way, Sarah, you're so kind and wonderful. You must have helped many people in need, right? Sarah was great at fooling people and building a persona. But helping the poor was a fantasy. She wasn't that kind. She barely had enough for her own spending. Yet, she still smiled sincerely. Yes, when I'm free, I help out. My parents taught me to share. Sarah thought I wanted to discuss charity, but I suddenly shifted the topic. Since you're so generous to strangers, and we've been friends for so long, and I'm now one of those poor people in trouble, won't you help me, Sarah? She never expected this. She never thought that I, someone who used to care so much about appearances, would say something like that. Sarah, you have no idea how hard my life is. I can't even afford a watch. Every day I have to look at Marcus's cold face, and I don't even dare mention money. No one else will take my calls. Seeing her expression change, I moved next to her. I grabbed her hand tightly, making sure she couldn't pull away. Sarah, only you were kind enough to find me. You're the only one I can ask for help. You're always so wealthy and generous. A couple $100,000 is nothing to you. You wouldn't be stingy with an old friend, right? You'll help me, won't you? We're like siblings. I squeezed her hand, adding, I haven't even reached out to my other female friends yet. That one sentence hit Sarah right where it hurt. She was dying of anxiety inside. Every woman she actually desired looked down on her, yet she pretended to be pure and noble. She couldn't even scrub her reputation clean. Finally, her family told her to stay low and fade from public memory. She only sought me out to use me to impress a woman she liked. She wanted to show off her skills. Alex, what are you saying? With our relationship, how could I watch you suffer and do nothing? Didn't I come find you the moment I returned? You know me. I've always been kind-hearted. I can't stand seeing strangers suffer, let alone you. Don't worry, I don't have much on hand, but I have 80 or 100,000. I'll transfer it to you in a bit for your emergency. Don't be polite with me. Fine. After Sophie went bankrupt, what did you guys do? How would I know any of that? Even if she told me everything, I wouldn't understand. As long as there's food on the table, I'm fine. She's always busy, but I don't ask what she's doing. I just don't ask. I originally wanted a divorce, but then she said we aren't in debt, so I'm just sticking it out. I heard Chloe went to find you later. Yeah, but she's no good. She couldn't compare to Sophie before, and she still can't. I'm not anyone special, but Sophie hasn't mistreated me even now. She's a good person. I trust someone with character. Trusting her is better than trusting a scumbag. But maybe Chloe realized she truly loves you after losing you. You've never suffered. When will these hard days ever end? Actually, I don't think life is that hard now. When I had money, I had a pile of problems and messy thoughts. I just bought things to cope. Now it's peaceful. I do what I want. I'm not someone who can't handle a hard life. I lived like this before college. This is fine. I'm not dissatisfied. I just need to figure out how to make some money. You're planning to work? How would that work? What could you even do? Imagine working at a counter or a supermarket and bumping into her. Good jobs are hard to find. You'd only find unskilled labor. Could you stand that? What's so hard? I graduated from a top-tier university. I haven't worked, but I can learn. I have the basic skills. My English and professional abilities are all okay. Sarah then remembered that I actually got into a top school on my own merit before meeting Sophie and Chloe. Comparing that to her own poor grades and needing her family to send her abroad to buy a degree, her mood soured. Degrees are important, but experience matters just as much. You're starting now, so you can't compete with fresh graduates. It won't be easy. I'll try. If I could get into a top school, adapting to a simple job can't be harder than the entrance exams. Oh, look at me bringing this up to you. It's fine, Sarah. It's normal you wouldn't understand. You don't need to work. I really envy you. You can just rely on your family. In the future, you can rely on a wife. You don't have to do anything but wait to die. So lucky. In other words, she was a useless person who could only leech off others. Sarah struggled to keep her face from twisting. She thought, he's so tactless, no wonder his life is a mess. I felt incredibly satisfied. We were both trading barbs under a polite veneer. The difference was her insults didn't hurt me at all, while mine hit her right in her insecurities. When we parted, I was joyful, while she was nearly exploding with internal rage. I headed back in high spirits. When I arrived, Sophie was sitting on the sofa looking at her laptop. Hearing the door, she shifted her gaze to me. I changed my shoes and clothes, then went to the bathroom to wash my face, all with a grin on my face. I was clearly in a great mood. I'm back. I went out today and made a clean 100,000. Aren't I amazing? I waved my phone, which I hadn't let go of, my tone full of unmistakable smugness. A clean 100,000? She just gave it to you. Yeah, she tried to act superior and fish for info, so I shut her down. Then I played poor, flattered her until she was stuck, and hinted that if she didn't show some generosity, I'd tell everyone she's heartless. To save face, she had to cough up the cash. Sophie silently recalled how the original Marcus spent all day buying bags, yet the man before her was this happy over 100,000. She felt a strange sensation in her heart. Her money is fair game. Getting anything out of Sarah isn't easy. Come here, open your app. I'll transfer it to you. Anyway, I'm giving it to you since it's free money. Just consider it her paying you back for the past. Take it. Don't worry about the house running low on funds. Sophie found this novel. He looked so generous telling her to spend it. Anything you need me to do? No. The house isn't lacking anything lately, and nothing is broken. Sophie wasn't referring to chores, but seeing my expression, she realized we weren't on the same page. She actually took out her phone, opened the app, and held it out to me. I naturally transferred the money I'd just received to her account, as if giving it to her was the most logical thing in the world. It's free money, so I don't mind. It was your money to begin with. All those meals I treated Sarah to back then. Weren't they all paid for by you? Now that we're broke, her paying it back should go to you. I like money, but I prefer earning it myself now. I'm making writing fees already. With me around, you won't go hungry. I can't promise a feast, but simple meals are guaranteed. Well, thank you then. Don't mention it. You were good to me before, after all. Oh right, I brought some leftovers back. They're untouched. Do you want some? Although Sophie grew up wealthy, she was never one for extravagant waste. Except for business events where she had to show off, her meals at home were normal, just made by skilled hands. She'd eaten leftovers back in school. Sure, I didn't expect that she would actually eat it. I thought a lady like Sophie wouldn't touch such things. I stammered. I just remembered. The stuff I packed is all sweets. Is that okay? What's the problem? I had to go to the door, bring the bag over, and open it. Inside were indeed pastries and desserts. Sophie naturally picked one up, put it in her mouth, and swallowed before giving her critique. This tastes better when it's hot. You've had this before? Sophie glanced at me and deliberately pulled out a tissue to wipe her hands. My grandfather loved these. Oh, her grandfather liked them, so she must have bought them for him occasionally, or he had her try them. I suddenly realized that saying this might make Sophie miss the past and feel sad. I felt a bit awkward. Sorry, you don't need to be sorry. The past has nothing to do with the present, so there's no need for apologies. Well, what do you want for dinner? I'll make it. I still felt quite guilty. This lady had taken such good care of the original Marcus, and she hadn't made things hard for me since I arrived. Poking at her wounds while her business was failing was just too much. Anything is fine. I have things to do and need to head out soon. I'll be back a bit late tonight. Okay, go ahead. I'll wait for you for dinner. Sophie glanced at me. She was going to say not to wait, but seeing my guilty look, she didn't say it. Okay. Once Sophie left, I thought for a bit, cleaned the house, wrote for a while, and then went out for groceries. Around 8 o'clock, the sound of the door opening rang out. I looked up from my document. Sophie had already walked in. I quickly saved the document. You're back. The food should still be warm. Are you hungry? Sophie took off her coat and hung it on the wall. The chill she brought from outside vanished instantly in the warmth of the room. She glanced over and saw the table in the dining area, set with food, all covered up. Sophie changed her shoes and entered. Waiting until now? You must be hungry. I'll just wash my hands. I'm fine. Not that hungry. I might not always make it back, so I'll let you know next time. You should just eat. I'll just eat. You don't need to wait for me. I actually think someone like Sophie wouldn't be like those with fixed jobs who come home on time every day. If she doesn't come back, I can relax a bit and just make something simple for myself. With a heart full of guilt, I made a rather lavish dinner. I even went through the trouble of steaming buns by hand. Different kinds like delicate flour rolls, sugar-filled buns, and sweet potato rolls. They looked adorable, likely just 2 or 3 bites each. Sophie picked up a flour roll and finished it in a few bites. After eating, she felt the taste was quite good. The buns are nice, right? Back then, I did it to study, and my friends all liked them when we were bored. As I was speaking, I suddenly froze. Crap, in my excitement, I almost let a secret slip. This skill is indeed impressive. You mean your friends from college? Yeah, college friends. We haven't kept in touch much since. I haven't steamed buns in a long time either. I didn't expect my skills hadn't regressed. Luckily, Sophie didn't think twice about it, or I would have sparked suspicion in a heartbeat. I felt secretly relieved, not noticing the intrigued look on her face. By the way, I simmered the chicken soup for a long time. You should drink more. Okay, the chicken soup I make has always been delicious. Sophie really liked this dish. Outside soup always lacks a certain flavor, but mine is perfectly balanced. She knew it wasn't just about the taste, but the feeling of someone willing to put their heart into simmering soup for you. When she was little, Sophie's mother also liked making chicken soup for her. The taste was actually terrible, but because she claimed it was good for a child's health, Sophie was always forced by her father to finish it all. After her parents died in an accident, Sophie had tried all kinds of chicken soup. The family chefs and even the maids had researched it, but no one could recreate that flavor. As she grew up, Sophie stopped showing any special interest in chicken soup, so it was forgotten. Sophie felt that her current tolerance for me was likely because I occasionally showed a warmth similar to her mother's. Why are you looking at me? Is there something on my face? I realized Sophie was just staring at me. Doesn't she know that staring at someone like that creates a lot of pressure? Or did she sense something was wrong again? You seem to have dark circles. What? I got up and looked in the mirror for a long time. I felt like I could vaguely see a trace of them. So this is the sign of dark circles coming on? I couldn't help but shudder. Sophie had only mentioned it casually and didn't expect such a big reaction from me. After waiting a while without seeing me come out, she asked curiously, "What's wrong? Are you not eating?" Just as she finished, I emerged sheepishly. Maybe it's from staying up late writing lately. A little dark circle doesn't affect anything. You're still very handsome. Hearing Sophie praise me so suddenly, my cheeks flushed with a hint of red. I was shy. After dinner, I got up to clear the dishes, but Sophie stopped me. "I'll do it today. No need. No need, I can do it." Saying that, I took the dishes from Sophie's hands and walked quickly toward the kitchen. Sophie smiled silently and shook her head, no longer fighting me for the chore. As she passed the living room, she saw the coffee table, with the laptop still showing the document. On a whim, she walked over, planning to see what I had written. When I finished cleaning everything and came out, I saw a scene that shocked me. Sophie was sitting elegantly on the sofa, head resting on one hand, reading my novel very seriously. Don't look. I practically rushed in front of Sophie, afraid she'd think I was a freak. Why can't I look? This novel isn't very high quality. Fine, then I won't. While I was secretly wondering if my reaction was too intense, she walked to the bedroom door, stopped, and suddenly said, "Actually, I think it's a bit exaggerated for the female lead to drop her company to accompany the male lead. If she's the CEO, she wouldn't have that much time." After saying that, she went into her bedroom and closed the door. I was left sitting where she had just been, dumbfounded. Sophie had read at least 2 chapters, and the 2 most melodramatic ones at that. Even though my novel was criticized, I wasn't angry at all. I just wanted to clarify to Sophie that I was writing a romance novel where love outweighs reality. If I wrote a realistic CEO story, it would be full of bugs and wouldn't work. So many readers enjoy it, but it's a pity Sophie doesn't understand web novels. I can't really explain it to her. A few days later, early in the morning, Sophie finished breakfast but hadn't left yet when there was a sudden knock at the door. I had just finished the dishes and went to open it. Who is it? Strange. Who would visit this early? The person outside didn't speak, just kept knocking. I looked through the peephole and saw 2 young women standing there. Both were incredibly stylish and elegant, the kind of faces you'd see on TV or as movie stars. One look and you knew they weren't ordinary people. My heart skipped a beat. I turned and knocked on Sophie's bedroom door. "Someone's at the door. I think they're looking for you." Sophie let go of her mouse and stood up. When she came out, she saw my face full of worry. "There are 2 women out there who definitely don't look like commoners. Go see if they're here for you." I don't think I've ever met them. What I didn't say was that I feared they were here to cause trouble for Sophie. My mind was already brainstorming. What if they really are trouble? The knocking outside stopped. The woman outside, Claire, turned to her friend Maya and asked, "Are you sure you didn't get the address wrong? Is this really Sophie's place? Why isn't anyone opening the door? Could she be out? Didn't they say Sophie hasn't divorced that new guy yet? Is she not here either?" "You're asking me? Who am I supposed to ask?" Maya replied, "I told you not to come, but you wouldn't listen. Sophie's been busy lately. You're not missing any limbs, so she's in no rush to see you. But I have to see her. I haven't seen her in a year. Sophie's had such bad luck lately. How can I be at peace if I don't see her with my own eyes?" Claire pouted stubbornly and resumed knocking, but this time she started pounding on the door. Suddenly, the door opened. "What are you 2 doing here? Come in." "Sophie, I missed you so much. Your little sister is back." Claire gave a joyful shout and lunged towards Sophie, giving her a tight squeeze before letting go. "You're back. That's good." As expected, in Maya's heart, only Sophie is family. The rest of us are just extras. "Hurry up and get inside." I stood behind them, completely dumbfounded. Could these 2 be Sophie's close friends? Claire walked in happily, but as she turned her head, she slammed right into my confused face. She froze, then pointed a finger at me. "Why is there a man here?" "Oh wait, you're Marcus. Why are you here?" "Why wouldn't I be here?" "Sophie, it's one thing not to divorce him, but you're actually living together?" If we don't live here, are we supposed to sleep on the street? Why do you have so much to say all day? Maya cut in. Marcus and Sophie aren't divorced, so it's not strange for them to live together. Let's sit down first. Claire opened her mouth to argue, but she really couldn't force a smile for me. She just pretended I didn't exist and went to sit on the sofa. Maya gave me a small nod and sat down as well. Since we had guests, I went to the dining area to pour some tea. When I returned, I saw the 3 women sitting there. Aside from Sophie, the other 2 were staring at her. That silent awkwardness made me want to leave immediately. I have something to do this morning, so I'll head out first. You guys chat. I won't be home for lunch. After I finished speaking, I hurried to the bedroom to grab my jacket, packed my things quickly, and rushed out the door. Ever since Sophie mentioned lunch, Claire had been staring at her with a shocked, unbelievable expression. As soon as I closed the door behind me, her face became unreadable. Eating at home? Sophie, did you just call this place home? It was fine until she pointed it out. Sophie paused for a moment, then quickly regained her composure. I've been eating here lately. His cooking is actually quite good. No way, Sophie. Are you really planning to spend your life with this man? Besides his looks, he has absolutely nothing going for him. But that's not necessarily true. To be honest, among all the handsome guys I've seen over the years, I haven't seen one better than him. Secondly, you should judge a person anew after 3 days. You didn't know him before you went abroad, and you haven't interacted with him since you returned. Where do you get the confidence to judge? Finally, do you think Sophie is a fool? There must be a reason she tolerates Marcus. Don't forget, in the eyes of outsiders, our Sophie is currently penniless. Isn't it strange that Marcus stays by her side under these circumstances instead of leaving? When Maya had helped Sophie check the records before, she had looked into it carefully. The conclusion she reached was very peculiar. She suspected Sophie wanted to keep him close to observe him slowly. After all, an open spear is easy to dodge, but an arrow in the dark is hard to guard against. However, before Claire could nod in agreement, Sophie dropped a bombshell. Their situation isn't as complicated as you think. Marcus has changed. He's actually quite decent now. The only reason I'm living here is because I have nowhere else to go. These days, I have nothing to do, so I earn a little money, cook my own meals, and live a life similar to my college days. Wait, then why won't you divorce him? Living a new life and getting a divorce aren't mutually exclusive, right? Why does he have to stay by your side? There are other reasons for that which you don't need to know. Just be polite to him from now on. He isn't as bad as you imagine. Claire wanted to ask more, but Maya interrupted her. Sophie has her own plans, so we don't need to worry. Since Marcus isn't who we thought he was, we'll just be polite to him. Exactly. Claire, I'm not trying to lecture you, but I know you're close to Sophie. Can you please stop getting so worked up every time her business comes up? Don't spend all day following Chloe's example. If you keep learning from her, your brain is going to stop working. How am I anything like that little idiot Chloe? Claire snapped. We're practically the same age. Remember when we told Chloe not to go to the banquet to find Sophie? She couldn't help herself. She almost caused Sophie a lot of trouble. You two are 2 peas in a pod. I am not. I just got back and I don't understand the situation, okay? You never explain things clearly to me. You always speak in riddles and it drives me crazy. It's only because I have so much patience. Claire glared at Maya, who only responded with a soft, knowing chuckle. Let's not talk about that. Claire, now that you're back, do you plan to join the family business? I really don't want to, but my old man is forcing me. You guys know I have absolutely no interest in the automotive industry. It's boring me to death. You might not be interested, but you're a natural talent. You were spotting flaws in your dad's new R&D prototypes back in high school. Did you really think he'd let you go? The moment he realized he'd fathered a daughter born to serve the family industry, he probably started celebrating in his sleep. Please, give me a break. If I'd known my old man was that sneaky, I never would have fallen for his trap. My brief period of leisure is about to vanish. My poor food business is going to be snatched away by my dad. It's so frustrating. That old guy never showed his inner foodie side. He actually managed to hide it for all these years. It's terrifying. Having elders push you forward is actually a blessing. Your father has put a lot of heart into your future, so cherish it. I've never had Sophie's talent for appreciating classical culture. To me, every tea tastes exactly the same. I just take a big gulp and spit it out if I don't like it. Isn't that better? You're right. Speaking your mind is better. Mocked for her lack of refinement, Claire didn't care at all. She had never experienced the refined sensibilities of the cultured elite. So what if I don't have those sensibilities? It's not a big deal. I've always known I'm not as capable as Sophie. Anyway, Sophie, what do you actually plan to do? I refuse to believe that Parasite is that powerful. How can anyone have such perfect foresight and stay one step ahead? Sophie, are you sure there isn't a mole? Sophie's expression, which had held a trace of a smile, instantly went cold. She pondered for a moment before speaking. I'm not sure where the problem lies. Even when I tell my plans to no one, the plans still get leaked somehow. If it were just a mole, it wouldn't explain this level of detail. As she spoke, Claire and Maya listened with rapt attention. Do you want me to check your belongings again? Maybe there's some advanced surveillance technology one missed. I don't think that's it. I later tried moving to different places without taking anything with me. I even changed my clothes. But the situation didn't improve at all. Does he really have some kind of supernatural power? No, that's impossible. Wait, do our older sisters have no way to handle him either? No, Sophie replied. We once teamed up to launch a coordinated strike against him. But whether it was a trap or a direct confrontation, he managed to dodge every single one of them. Somehow, he got connected to the Wen family. Later, Old Man Wen personally stepped in to mediate and gave us a warning. How is that possible? Has an old man Wen stayed out of these petty junior disputes for years? This guy's tactics are absolutely disgusting. If you're going to fight, fight fair, don't go calling for outside help. What is this, an elementary school playground fight where you hit me and I hit you back? Damn it, why would old man one help him? I've never heard of old man when being such a compassionate person. I heard his wife happened to save old man one's life by chance. She's also very close to the old man's favorite actor. But why would he? Why target Sophie specifically? She has so many industries. Even if he develops his construction business, it doesn't overlap with her other sectors. Maya looked at her two sisters' grim expressions and suddenly smiled. Well, things aren't much better now. Don't worry. Since I'm penniless now, it's the perfect time to see what he's really after. Only when I have nothing can I tell if he's targeting me personally or just trying to annex my assets for his own growth. Sophie, do you plan to only develop your tech business from now on? That industry requires massive investment, and who knows when we'll see results. Tech is the industry of the future. I've wanted to restructure and upgrade for a long time. I used to have to worry about dragging along those leeches from the family. Now that I'm free of that burden, it's much easier. In a way, it's good he helped you shed that weight, Sophie. But the loss you suffered is real. Once I take over the family business, I'll help you target him. I refuse to believe he can predict every single plan. Don't cause trouble, Claire. Just learning the ropes will take you forever. By the time you're ready, Sophie will have already rebuilt everything. Just focus on your own work. Sophie is more calculated than you, and if things get urgent, we're still here. She's worked for so many years, it's not easy to finally get a break. What's the rush? Sophie, how can you not be worried at all? Has Sophie ever been the type to panic? When you put it that way, I guess I've never seen her lose her cool. Fine, Sophie, if you need anything, just call me. I'll be there whenever you need. The three of them chatted for a while longer before heading out together. When I returned in the afternoon, the house was empty. I breathed a sigh of relief. Sophie's friends have such intense auras, and they clearly dislike me. It really tests a man's endurance. I said I was going out for business, but I really had nothing to do. I just needed an excuse to leave. With nowhere to go, I went to an internet cafe to write. A beautiful girl playing games nearby kept glancing at me as she lost over and over. Later, just as she was about to strike up a conversation, I switched machines. But at the new computer, the girl next to me leaned in and tried to chat, asking why I came here just to write. It felt like she was trying to soak up some positive energy from me. It was awkward. Back home, I could finally relax. I changed my clothes and took a long, deep stretch before collapsing onto the sofa. Then I felt like taking a shower. I checked my phone to confirm Sophie's message. She really wasn't coming back until very late tonight. I dashed to the bathroom and took a long, comfortable hot shower. When I came out, I dried my hair and blew it out. I made some lemon tea, grabbed the snacks I bought earlier, and snuggled happily into the sofa. I hesitated, then decided to skip writing for a bit. I opened my laptop, found a movie I'd been planning to watch, and started enjoying it. As I watched, I'd grab a snack or take a sip of lemon tea. There's nothing better in this world than being free of responsibilities, freshly showered, and relaxed. Snacking while watching a show with dry hair. This is the first time I've felt this good since coming to this world. As the movie reached its climax, I was staring at the screen, completely lost in the story and forgetting where I was. Just as a door was suddenly opened in the movie, a discordant sound of a real door opening rang out. The sound guy should lose his lunch for that. The timing was terrible. Didn't you eat lunch? Sophie's voice suddenly came from the doorway. I jumped in fright, and the potato chips in my hand spilled onto my lap. I looked up to see Sophie's face, her brows furrowed. She stood there tall and elegant, head slightly tilted, staring at me with that frown. Or rather, she was staring at my hand, which was now empty. In Sophie's eyes, the man a few steps away was staring at her with wide, startled eyes, like a little animal frozen in shock. He looked a bit like a roasted. Weren't you supposed to be back very late? I finally found my voice. I couldn't hide my awkward expression, and my words carried a hint of accusation. Sophie put on her slippers and entered the room, looking away. I finished my business and came back. Chloe insisted on seeing her company, but then old Mr. Wen suddenly summoned her. She had to go back to see what it was about. The company visit can wait. It's not going anywhere. There's no rush for a day or two. Did you not eat lunch? I gently pinched the corner of the potato chip bag. I carefully pulled it away with a smile on my face. I did. I was just bored and watching a movie, having some snacks. As I spoke, I pulled the bag under the table and immediately tossed it into the trash can. In Marcus's memories, Sophie never touched snacks. Eating them in front of her made me feel like I was committing a crime.